Okay, I'm about to recording. Don't worry, I won't bite.
Oh, I'm trying to make you feel comfortable too, because I've been interviewed tons and tons of times, so I feel
No worries.
fine. I want you to get off to a good start.
Not a problem. Most of my friends already know I'm a jackass anyways. But they still love me. Alright. Okay. Welcome everyone again to another episode of Eddie Sanchez TV. I'm your favorite DJ, Eddie Sanchez, your host with the most. Gotta love me. Today we are here with Knoxville Alderman Seema Singh. Did I say that correctly?
No.
No, of course not.
In Knoxville politics. In some cities it's alderman. In Knoxville it's city council.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's just a technicality. I think probably in Florida, where you spend a lot of your time, it's alderman.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
But you got my name right.
that was what I was really worried about. So. Now, for those that don't understand the position or whatever, can you explain that to us a little bit?
Yes, I'm gonna go real basic because a lot of this stuff I didn't understand until I was running for office. Right? You and I talked a little bit about where local politics are important, and you learned that at an early age. I didn't. In my family, we talked about what was going on at the president level. I had no idea. I knew that there was a mayor, but that was about it. So Knox County is where we live, and within Knox County is Knoxville City. There are two different governments. There's a Knoxville City and then a Knoxville County government, so there are two mayors. And city council there are 9 of us we have districts within the city, and then there's the county commission, so that, and in other places that would be called an alderman also.
Yes.
So they, our districts overlap, but in Knoxville City, we have some differences from the county level. Like we have KPD, they have the sheriff's department. We have garbage pickup. There you have to, in the county, you have to contract with an agency on your own.
Oh, okay.
So differences like that. So in Knoxville City, there are 6 districts, and they are not cleanly marked. It's like I never know which district they're, like right now we are in District 2, I believe, which is Andrew Roberto's.
Okay.
I am on the other side of Middlebrook Pike, and Northwest Knoxville, Western Avenue, up to Shad Road, Clinton Highway. It's an area of town where there's the biggest growth right now, but it's kind of a forgotten area in a lot of ways. It's mainly working class folks that don't have organized neighborhood associations, and if you want power, which power means a way to affect change, right? Then you need to have an organized neighborhood association, because that's when there are enough of you to be able to have a voice. So Northwest Knoxville doesn't have a lot of that. There are about 4 or 5 that are pretty strong.
And for those that are thinking about, getting organizations started in those areas, what would you suggest?
There's an office for that. It's called the Office of Neighborhood Empowerment. And you just give that office a call. If you have neighbors who are willing to do this with you, and you get a kind of a charter, bylaws, and you get recognized by the city, you can have a neighborhood association that meets weekly, monthly, yearly. It doesn't have to be any sort of thing. It could be, there's a problem right now, so let's organize something. There's a neighborhood that I'm working with right now. Their brick sign to their neighborhood was hit by a car. Well, there's no neighborhood association, so who's going to fix that, right? The neighborhood owns it. So in order for the insurance company to even write a check, there needs to be a neighborhood association. But they don't want to form one because they are worried that is forming a government, and they don't like government. So their sign sits there broken.
Now, we had just recently discussed today's society being informed politically.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be a big suggestion for those out there who are not really informed to start getting informed?
So you and I were talking about transparency,
Yes.
right? And that's what a lot of people are concerned about, and rightfully so. There are places that are not transparent, and we need more public records. You know, there are, especially at the state level, they've been tamping down on public record requests. So there is a level of transparency that we need to work towards. But what's more common is there's a lot of information out there, we just don't access it, right? Because it used to be that we all got the Knoxville News Sentinel. So we were reading the news about the city, we all got the same news. Or if I turned on Channel 10, I got the same news as everybody else on my block who was watching that same channel. Now, when I go on Facebook or on online, period, and if I look up New York Times article on Indian Americans and what they're doing politically, the algorithms, the next time I'm doing a search, it will find me something similar to that. So we end up going into an echo chamber. Like if I'm always looking for QAnon, I'm going to get more QAnon, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it is I'm looking for, it just pulls you into that and pulls you out of mainstream information. So you have to hunt for it. You have to actively educate yourself.
Especially in a time where things seem to be more easily accessed,
Right.
but are actually more distracting from what you were really looking for. Yeah.
Right.
So instead of finding certain medical issues, in headlines that you were looking for, let's say like, retirement for veterans, you end up being sidetracked by other veteran, just because of that word and the way the algorithms run, you end up taking the long way around, so to speak, to find what you're actually looking for and the info that you need. Which is one of the things that I've come across, being someone that does take care of an elderly person who has to worry about those issues. And it just...
Is your father a vet?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, he is a Vietnam vet. He's been retired probably the past 15, 20 years now. I will say, filing any type of veterans paperwork here in Tennessee has definitely been a little bit more of a mission than when I was in Florida, having to do it for him. So not so much of a mission, but more added hoops to go through.
That's interesting because that's a national, federal thing. It shouldn't be state by state, but somehow you're still having more difficulty.
I think it's mainly the offices in general.
Even if it's federal offices, the ones that are in Tennessee have not been as
helpful.
Okay, I can believe that. Right.
Yeah, and I do have to take them to the main office here in Knoxville. If I don't have to go there, I have to go all the way to Johnson City. Yeah, where, like I said, in Florida, I kind of had to go through the same thing for small issues. I could stay locally, but anything major, I had to physically drive all the way to Tampa. So, as far as that's concerned, it is about the same. Yeah, as far as having to go through extra lengths to get things done. Now,
but it should not be so difficult getting services for people who have earned them.
Yes.
And Vietnam vets, they've earned.
And the regulations nowadays has changed dramatically, especially in the past 5 to 10 years, as far as things they have to go through. Certain things that were allowed and procedures that they had to go through are no longer available or no longer up to date. So, and trying to explain, especially to someone that's in their latter years, so their 70s and their early 80s, who are not up to date with today's technology. Or even some of today's recent law changes with things they've been used to for 20, 30 years,
Right.
And as far as info, both locally and nationally
Mhm.
for veterans, it's really on two different pages for them. And I would love to see, especially for those veterans that are my age and younger that are starting to get to those, to be able to have an easier time.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
navigator would be helpful, like an office that you could go to and they instructed you on which direction to go in. Yeah.
But of course, those offices, like many public offices, are usually understaffed,
Well, they've been
overworked.
they've been defunded a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of veteran services have been defunded over the last few years.
Now, in your position, what has been the main focus, or the main goal as you go throughout your career?
So, I'm not a career politician. When I am done in 2.5 years, I'm done. That's how I feel right now. I did not go into politics as this is a career. I am a social worker and a therapist, and I have worked in direct services with different types of populations. And in doing that work, I found a lot of policies that were in place that were ineffective and at times harmful. And I'm like, okay, so I'm upset with some of the policies. Well, what is politics? Policy, right? So I'm like, all right, let me see if I can affect some change on some of the homeless services, some of the even though the vet services are national, federal stuff. But what can I affect as from my experience as somebody who has been on the ground with populations that have been underserved for years and years and years. So that was a part of my emphasis. Now, identity politics bothers me because we get so down narrow alleyways that turn into things that separate us more than what unite us. But it is important to me that I am an immigrant, born in India, raised in Knoxville. Knoxville is my home. And to have that voice at a government level, it's not about just identifying other Asians and just lifting them up. No, it's trying to say that these are some of the differences in our experience and we need many different points of view. So on council, I really like our council a lot. We are all very different. We all bring different experiences, and we listen to each other even when we disagree. So I'm able to bring concerns to them that they may not have considered before. Like at times there are people who don't speak